everybody, this is Mary Bensel and welcome to At the Van Wezel. And I'm here with Julia Mays, our great marketing director here at the theater, and we're here to talk about some fabulous shows for the spring.
And
can
boy,
you believe
we
it's
have
spring?
some. Oh my gosh, I mean we just have tons and tons
It
of
was October
great
last time
shows.
I looked,
Oh,
you know?
I know, right?
But anyway, welcome to spring. Happy spring, everybody. And it's a great time of year here in Florida and a great time at the Van Wezel.
And gorgeous outside as we always look out there.
Yeah, it is. But we have one of the great ladies of comedy, Lily Tomlin, coming to the theater. She's coming on March 1st, and I've met Lily on a number of occasions. She was in Philadelphia when I was there for years, not for years, for several months, and she was doing The Incredible Likeness of Being, I think was the title of her one-woman show. And she's just had a phenomenal career.
Extremely talented. I mean, I didn't realize how talented she was until you read all of her credits.
Well, and she did movies. She, you know, she also was, you know, I think she was back on Laugh-In,
television,
and all that,
lots of stuff.
Just phenomenal. And I'm so looking forward to meeting her, and it's going to be a great, fun show. There's still a few tickets left. I really would recommend. It's a great time to come out and see ladies, you know, see the fabulous lady of comedy. And I always bring out the fact that she was so fabulous on NCIS this year. She was great playing a spy.
And wasn't she was fabulous in Valentine's Day. Remember the movie?
Yes, she was. It was great.
That was great. Like a different take of her.
But then we go to a totally different experience, Pink Floyd.
I am so looking forward to this show.
And this is the big one with the Animals album.
Yep. The pig
flies again.
They fly it through the
and you know, but it's got money, Comfortably Numb, Run Like Hell, a whole lot of hits. Plus this show, folks, has a lot of light components, and it's a big production show. So with lots of lights and production.
Pieces of orchestra, a band, singers. It's a
fabulous
major experience.
And it's a great time. We've had some great rock concerts this year. I mean, I just lately think about Foreigner was so phenomenal. So come out and see a tribute to Pink Floyd, because this is just going to be great. And then we switch gears. It's like that. Don't you love that about the Van Wezel?
Yes.
You know, one minute somebody said to me the other night, well, one night I was watching Josh Bell play, you know, a $2 million violin, and the next night I'm seeing Willie Nelson on stage. And so that's what's wonderful here.
It is very
and we have a show called A Jew Grows in Brooklyn. What can you tell me about that, Jules?
Oh, and Jake is so funny. I've actually talked to him on the phone. He's really hilarious. He's a busy guy. It talks about it's an actual Broadway production. It's a true production, a full production. And he literally takes
Is it a one-man show?
Sort of. I think he has a few helpful people on the show with him, but that come on and off. But it's basically his story about how he grew up in Brooklyn and trying to fit in.
His parents were Holocaust survivors,
yes.
so he was. So I guess he had a lot, you know, to try to cope with the fact of the different cultures and lifetime.
And to fit in. And
but
it was
it's
very
funny,
difficult.
though, isn't it?
And it's very humorous how he presents it. So you don't have to be a Brooklynite or Jewish to enjoy this show. That's the New York Times says that, and he literally means that. So you got to come and see it.
And I think, you know, it's great to have, you know, a different kind of laughter in our lives. And then we go to Women of Ireland, Celtic Goddess. And there are a lot of Irish shows out there, you know, and I hope we have a lot more, because we've had several really great ones this year. You know, we started the year out with Celtic Thunder, and this one is a lot of the female voices and the singing and dancing.
Yes, it's actually, it is also another full production. And one of the famous people that I always think is so wonderful is Saban. And I can't remember her last name, but she was the lead in Riverdance. Mm-hmm. And so I remember
and that's
her.
March the 8th. And I've been to Ireland twice, and every time I see one of these shows, I think about those beautiful green hills and the sea and all the lambs and the sheep on the hills, and it's just it really makes you feel fabulous. And then one of the great guys, one of the greatest stars of Broadway, Tommy Tune, is coming here.
I love Tommy Tune.
Me too.
And I will never forget him walking down the aisle to make his entrance at the previous theater I was at down in Fort Myers, and he was all in white, and I didn't realize how tall he was.
He's very tall.
I swear he looked like he was 8 feet tall.
I know.
And he walked down the aisle, and you just go,
well,
whoa.
And he's done so much, and I know how tall he is because I was lucky enough to be invited to a Christmas party at his house last 2 years ago or a year ago.
I was wondering if you're going to tell
Oh,
that
yeah,
story.
and no, and they, you know, and they had, you come in and there's this fabulous, like, Andy Warhol type painting of Carol Channing, and then he has this big ladder that goes up, and on every rung of the ladder there is a Tony Award because he's won 9 of them.
Amazing. He's just amazing.
He's a director, a choreographer, fabulous. I mean, I think back to Hello, Dolly, the movie with Barbra Streisand, and he was playing the young guy in it, you know, and
his dancing is so wonderful. I mean, for as tall as he is, he's so graceful on his feet.
And he's just the nicest fellow. And I'll tell you, whenever they have a problem on Broadway, they call Tommy Tune in, and he's sort of like the doctor to help everybody fix it.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I remember he came into, we were doing My Fair Lady in Philadelphia one year with Richard Chamberlain, and he came in at the last minute to give some tips, and he's just a great guy, and he has the Manhattan Rhythm Kings with him. So folks, don't miss it. And Tommy's going to be in town for a couple days, so I'm really excited about that.
Absolutely.
And so that is on March the 14th, and we have a little bit of video of Mr. Tune. Let's look.
Double time step. Shout hooray and hallelujah, happy days I'm coming to ya. Bye bye bad times.
He is that tall.
He is that tall.
And then we have the 5 Browns. And the 5 Browns started out as little kids.
Yes, they did. I was going to tell you, I saw them 5 years ago when they did a showcase at the New York Lincoln Center. And oh my gosh, they were just phenomenal. And everybody was kind of thinking, oh my gosh, 5 little kids playing a piano.
And they're not so little anymore.
They're not so little anymore, but you don't realize that when you get there, they're not all playing the same piano. They each play a piano. So one family, 5 pianos, 50 fingers, and
it's
scorching pianos.
Oh, it's fabulous. And I
phenomenal.
wrote down some of the composers that they're playing music by: Mozart, Gershwin, Stravinsky, John Williams, Liszt, so many more. So that should be a great show.
They put a little different twist on all of those too,
Yes.
so it makes it very exciting.
And they have been on the covers of magazines and on the Today Show and all sorts of things. So that's going to be a great show. And then we have always a sellout. Always a sellout, and of course we have a local guy in the group.
And our Sarasota's own Graham.
Graham Nash, you know, and we have the Moody Blues coming, and that is March 16th. Need we say more? There are probably a few tickets left at this moment in time, but boy, they smoke on the guitar. I mean, oh, they're great. And then 104 years of Broadway with Neil Berg. And Neil's, I think it's his parents live here in town.
Yes, they do.
So it's hometown.
And, you know, he's such a nice guy. He comes by every so often, and he always pushes the show. It's a totally new show, so we'll have some updated music from Shrek, from a lot of the new upcoming shows that you might have seen on Broadway already, and still some of our old favorites.
They have 4 or 5 great Broadway stars in the show. It's March 17th. And the audience goes wild every time. So you get tickets through our box office. That's the cheapest way to get tickets. No extra service fees other than you know, the CIF fee and the parking fee. But then you could get them on the phone and on the internet. And again, I urge you, get them through our official site. So we've had people getting them on Secretary.
And we're vanwezel.org, O-R-G, not .com. So vanwezel.org.
Because if you go to one of these secondary sites, they upcharge people. We'll see people buying tickets for, you know, a $30 or $40 ticket, and they'll spend $150 or $175. I mean, for Jerry Seinfeld tickets, they had tickets up to $1,700 on these sites. And you just don't want to be ripped off like that, and you also don't really know, you know, what sites you can trust.
So be safe.
Be safe. And our phone number, Jules?
Is 953-3368.
And then I know you've had some great times with, we have a Facebook page and a Twitter feed, and you've been giving tickets away.
We do contests every day, so, you know, folks, get online, engage your friends, because we appreciate it, and we always have all kinds of contests.
We have an email newsletter.
Yes.
We have news blasts, and we have specials coming up all the time.
So
and then,
like us.
Like us. We're easy to like. At least that's what we think, right?
That's right.
And so it's going to be a great spring, and we're going to be back in a few minutes with a special guest from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Ordinances, variances, site plan applications, major conditional use. What does it all mean? Take the confusion out of City Commission meetings and watch the Commission Report. The commission report takes the meeting agenda, breaks it down, and presents it in a manner that everyone can understand. Look for the commission report right before the meeting begins on Access Sarasota. Then watch the commission recap online the next day and find out what actions were taken at the previous meeting. For more information, visit sarasotagov.com and look for Video on Demand.
And welcome back to At the Van Wezel. And as promised, I have a really great special guest with me, Rochelle Madrigal, with a beautiful name, from the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Bradenton Marauders. And so we're going to talk a little sports here in the middle of our little art show. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me, let's get right to it. How are the Pirates doing this year? And, you know, I know it's spring training is just starting, but how have they done in past seasons?
Well, we have a lot of exciting momentum going on right now.
Great.
Many seasons in a row, we have struggled a little bit on the field, but we have made some very significant changes recently. Last season, we brought in a new manager, Clint Hurdle, for us at the big league level. Tremendous person. He's an extremely great motivator for the team, and he's really changed the mentality of the organization. I think is really bringing us on the road to becoming a winning team. Last year we had a really good stretch of about a month where we were in and out of first place, which was tremendous in the summer.
Wow, that's fabulous.
So that was terrific. So a lot of good steps forward, and we're looking forward to this year where we can hopefully place even higher in the National League. So.
It sounds great. And, you know, I lived in Pittsburgh for almost 5 or 6 years, and I used to go to the Pirates game, and we were recently in Pittsburgh, a great new stadium there. It's fabulous.
PNC Park is a beautiful, beautiful field. The skyline view at night is second to none.
Oh,
so.
it's fabulous because it's down the Three Rivers, and it's really wonderful. And you have a great place here, a campus that the players come and they train here. And then how many games do they play with you?
Well, we're very unique. We're one of only 2 spring training teams in Florida that actually has 2 facilities, one of which being the campus you're talking about, Pirate City. An all-inclusive complex. We have an 83-room dormitory right there. We have an on-site dining hall where our players have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've got 4.5 practice fields and a utility field on top of that right there at that complex. And then about 7-8 minutes down the road, we've got McKechnie Field where we actually play our spring training major league games. So we're a split complex, and Pirate City is our minor league training complex. So we have, believe it or not, we have workouts going on there with players 11.5 months out of the year.
It's great. I've been there because we were very lucky. The Pirates and the Marauders were one of our sponsors this year. And I was down there with Julia Mays, my cohort on this show, and there were a lot of great-looking guys coming out in their baseball uniforms. And so we had a great time. So I recommend it for everybody. Go down there and see a Pirate or a Marauder.
Absolutely. We'll set up a tour, definitely.
But anyway, tell us about the Marauders. How often do they play?
The Marauders are our newest addition here in Bradenton. A lot of people didn't know that we have almost year-round baseball at Pirate City with our Gulf Coast League, our rookie team in the summer, Instructional League in September and October. But we were able to add the Marauders. Their first season was 2010. We purchased the Sarasota Reds organization from the Cincinnati Reds over here, and once they moved their spring training to Arizona. And so then we were able to bring that team under our wing in the Pirates organization. So they're one of our minor league affiliates at the high A level. So very good quality baseball. It's been a big success. They play at McKechnie Field after our major league team leaves. So they have games, 70 games in the summer, right at home from April to September.
I bet you people would be interested to know, do a lot of those team members actually go forward and become part of the Pirates organization?
Definitely. We've already had 3 that have stepped foot in the major leagues in only 2 seasons of having the Marauders, so it's been great. We have several that have been invited to our big league spring training this year, so it'll be fun to kind of watch them grow and see if they're able to become a 40-man roster.
I bet they'll be a fan favorite down here.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's fun because you get to, some of the players we've seen at the young rookie level when they were playing at Pirate City, now they're at the high A level with the Marauders, and hopefully we can see them in a Pittsburgh uniform very soon.
There's certainly been a lot of talk about baseball recently with Moneyball, that movie with Brad Pitt, and any of that true, or is that storyline kind of a movie, Mary?
It's a very interesting movie, and I actually thought it was very well done. It definitely is based on a true story, and our organization, our baseball operations department, does follow a lot of those philosophies that you see in the film. So being a small market team, having to do a lot with a few dollars, it definitely applies to us.
Well, and it doesn't hurt having a manager that looks like Brad Pitt either, does it?
No, that can't hurt. No,
That
it's just
cannot
a
hurt at
bonus.
all. How do people get season tickets or buy single tickets?
We have a lot of different ticket plans, basically something for everyone. Spring training season tickets are still available, but they're in higher demand, so seat locations, just first come, first serve. But they can call our box office or tickets.com at 877-893-2827 or go online to pirates.com, and those are still available. And then for the Marauder season, you would call our box office again at that number, and there's plenty of availability for that season. And the neat thing about the Marauder season tickets, you get one season ticket to each of the 70 games, and they're flex tickets. So if you can't make half the nights, you can use those tickets on nights that you can't attend and bring an extra friend. So
that sounds like a fabulous deal. And one thing we deal with in the theater industry, and I'm sure you do in baseball, is get your tickets from the official websites or the official phone box offices, because there are secondary sites out there that mark up the tickets astronomically, and then the patron gets angry, and you know, and it's not fair.
You want to make sure you're getting the fair price by buying them directly through us, and you never know which sites, unfortunately, you can trust and can't trust. So
Exactly.
to buy them directly through pirates.com or bradentonmarauders.com is certainly your best bet.
I'm definitely in favor of that. And I want to thank you, because I know you started out as an intern and you've worked your way up, and you serve on a lot of community and nonprofit groups in the area here. And do you want to just tell people what boards you're on?
Sure. It's a big philosophy in the Pirates organization for us to be involved as employees and active members of the community. It's one of the biggest things we believe in. So I currently serve as the vice chair of the Manatee County Substance Abuse Coalition. And then I also serve on the board of directors for the Pace Center for Girls in Bradenton, another kind of special organization.
That is fabulous. And I have to say, I am so thrilled. You know, I'm an arts person, but I also believe in a very, very healthy sports life, because, you know, it brings the husbands come see baseball, the women, you know, bring their husbands at night to see a show, and I'm very thrilled we have the Orioles and the Pirates in this area, as well as, of course, our other teams like the Marauders. So thank you so much for your support of the arts.
Well,
it means a lot.
it's been terrific just partnering with the arts. I think sports and arts actually naturally go together more than people would think. And it's great just to promote tourism and people being active and supporting the organizations in this area. So.
When I was working for Pittsburgh Ballet, we had Lynn Swan, who was a Steeler, you know, on our board of directors, and he would come and train with the ballet class because, you know, to catch all those passes, he had to reach out and do it. So anyway, folks, you see, the sports and the arts are friends, and we are really glad to have you as a sponsor, and we will be right back with At the Van Wezel in a minute.
Did you know City of Sarasota drinking water is very safe? Tested every 2 hours. Delivered right to your house. Much more affordable than bottled water. Environmentally friendly. And it tastes good. City of Sarasota water. Safe, affordable, environmentally friendly.
And it was great to hear from our baseball partners. We have both the Pirates and the Orioles involved, and they've been special people, and I'm glad that we have, you know, so much exciting things going on in this community.
And I'm glad they agree that sports and arts mingle.
They do mingle, because, you know, a lot of the training is similar, you know, and
those
so
guys
it's fabulous.
Are cute.
They
no matter
are cute,
what.
Julia. They are. Even though they could be my grandson, they are cute. But we are very glad to be back at the Van Wezel. And we are starting talking about, there's a lot of comedy this month.
Yeah.
We have one of our favorites, and one of the Sarasota's favorites, Steve Solomon, is coming back with My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, I'm Still in Therapy, and the Chaos Continues.
And it does.
I missed the show last year when he was here. I was on New York or somewhere, and people just stopped me in the street and said they couldn't stop laughing.
He is hilarious.
I mean, don't you wonder what it was like growing up in his family?
Yeah.
I mean, it must be. Well, let's look what it was like in his family. Let's see a little piece of it.
Hello.
Hi, hearing aids, hearing aids, hearing aids.
Just a minute, sweetheart. Hello.
Hey, Pop.
Yeah, you hang up.
Oh, you hang up. Okay.
that is just the funniest. And, you know.
And he is funny.
He is funny, and he's a great guy. He's been here a lot, and we love Steve Solomon. So I'm sure there's still a couple of tickets left, and please, everybody, come out and see Steve, because he is a great guy. You know,
he's so personable.
But how long is this title going to be when he finishes, you know, the next 10 years of his life?
After the chaos
continues, Aunt Mary's dead, and the cats had twins, you know, who knows? And then we have one of my favorite shows coming, Bowfire. And it's great to have old friends as well as new shows here at the Van Wezel, to have, you know, some things that are familiar to the audience and then brand new shows. And like we opened up with Dolly Parton this year, and you know, we're going to end up with Yanni, which is nice to have two big new shows.
Yes.
But we have Bowfire coming back in March, and it's March 20th.
That was always a favorite here.
It was, and you talked about in Fort Myers. Julie and I, of course, worked in Fort Myers together at the Barbara Mann Hall, and we had Bowfire there and Bowfire here. And on stage, you may have 7 or 8 fiddle players or all sorts of different string instruments. And it is amazing to watch them play. And it's really, really a dramatic show. And I can tell you folks, I actually brought my niece and nephew, they're twins, and I think they were 18 or 19 at the time. They're going to be 21 this summer. Can you imagine?
No,
they were little babies.
I remember when they were little.
Me too. I can remember, you know, holding them. But, you know, they loved it. And so this is a show that teenagers love, grandmothers love. You know,
for everybody.
It's for everybody.
Yeah,
and
that's really nice.
You know, it's something that even kids that like rap would enjoy. So, in fact, I got a letter from somebody that had seen Alvin Ailey, and they said, you know, this changed my life and my students' life, and to see dance like that. So that is what's special about the Van Wezel. Now we're talking about a show, Young Frankenstein, that you and I saw together.
Yep. And I have a little story to tell.
Yeah, tell them about that. You crazy person.
We're going into, as Mary will know, we go into Young Frankenstein, we go sit in our seats, and Mary's kind of nudging me, trying to be discreet. And I'm like,
I'm always discreet.
What do you want? And I finally make a big to-do totally, and we go to sit down, and she goes, Donny Osmond is sitting behind you. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we really had, well, he and I ended up laughing through the whole show.
I turned around because I had done a show with him when I was working as an agent. And so I turned around and said hi, and you and Donnie started chatting. The two of them, I didn't think I was going to hear half the show because they were punching each other and laughing.
We thought it was hilarious. Well, he wanted to be Young Frankenstein. He said he was.
Well, he was a little short.
He was a little short.
He was a little short. He wasn't green.
We're sorry, Donnie.
But Donnie is a great guy. In fact,
he brought his son, who was equally as funny.
And adorable. And then we all ended up at the Disney party that night, which was great. And you know, they brought him out on stage. And we're actually trying to get Donnie and Marie to come with their show sometime soon to the Van Wezel.
But something about Young Frankenstein, the first night, the first performance we do at one of the Van Wezel family nights.
Yes,
so
it is.
That's
and
exciting.
What's family night?
Well, family nights is where we invite adults to come and purchase a ticket, and they can bring a young adult or a young child from 8 to 18 for free. And great seats. And then afterwards we have a talk back, like a party with the cast. They meet the cast, they can take photos, ask questions.
And there's food.
We have food donated.
And we get it donated by different people between Madison's and Boar's Head. If you hear something in the background, we are right now.
That's Young Frankenstein.
Getting zapped.
He's getting ready.
So anyway, but the show is funny. It's a musical. I mean, you know, when he does the number Putting on the Ritz, even I was hysterical laughing. You know,
it was just very funny.
It was very, very funny. And I really, really enjoy it. And these family nights are a great way to introduce young kids to the theater.
And we have 2 performances of it, so if you can't make the first night,
and it's March, what, 22 and 23?
March 22 and 23.
Then, you know, we have another embarrassing story to tell you all. Julie and I, again, back in Fort Myers, we had this artist come to our theater, Neil Sedaka, and he had on this gorgeous royal blue suit, and he was playing the piano. Oh, I guess Young Frankenstein has stopped drilling now.
I guess the holes are done.
The holes are done. The nuts are in there, you know. But anyway, Neil Sedaka came to our theater, and we must have annoyed half the patrons because every song that Neil sings is a hit. And we know all the words, and we were singing away. And I looked down, and there was somebody not looking very happy at us.
So we promise we won't sing all the songs,
No.
unless he asks us.
Unless he asks us to sing, but you know,
What a talented guy,
Oh my
though.
gosh,
I mean,
he, you know, it's just calendar girl and
songwriter,
Oh, gosh.
singer himself.
I didn't mean he was a calendar girl. I meant
No,
he
I
wrote
know.
calendar girl.
Could have been a calendar guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
But no, he's written so many of the world's great music. I mean, you know, we talk about pop music, and Neil Sedaka, Barry Manilow, and Paul Anka probably cover 50% of
Yeah,
pop hits
absolutely.
until the, you know, late 90s.
But great songs to sing to, though.
Yes,
'cause you
and
do-
to dance
yeah,
to.
yeah.
He's even had a musical made about, I don't know if it's about his life or about his music, but, and Neil's a great guy to
He
go out
is.
to dinner with, and he's a lot of fun.
And he
he's
likes
here-
to kibitz a little bit on stage, so he'll get the audience
Yeah,
involved.
he'll tell them
Come
something
see
about
him.
his life. It's March 24th, and I think we have some tickets left. You know,
We do.
it's
Not many, but we do.
but it's always good to get tickets too at the last minute, because sometimes the artist opens up some of their seats. So at the last minute, you could get a great seat. And this is probably the only way you will get a ticket for the next artist we're talking about, is
Yeah.
he releases some seats. We're talking about the great Tony Bennett.
And I'm talking great Tony Bennett.
Well, there aren't many icons like Tony
No.
around anymore. He's here March the 25th. The last time he was here, it was the 40th anniversary of the Hall. And I mean, you know, everybody knows Tony's in his 80s. He's just released another duets album. And who's on the Grammys, you know, right there in the front row?
Tony and Carrie Underwood also
Tony
sang.
and Carrie Underwood.
Hey, you know, I almost thought it was a Van Wezel Grammy night, because
It was. So many of the
we had
artists.
so many of the artists that we are either had here or going to have.
I know.
Here at
I
the,
saw the Beach Boys
Yeah.
coming out, and it was like old home week for me.
Yeah.
And
Diana Krall and
yeah, Diana
Sergio
Krall.
Mendes. Of course, they're later in April, but
Yeah, but that's fine to mention.
yeah.
Sergio Mendes is coming up in
Oh my
April,
gosh,
and he
and-
was there, you know, being nominated for a Grammy. And Diana Ross was honored the night before, and of course, you know, everybody was saddened by the passing of Whitney Houston. And gosh, I got a chance to see her in person several times, and great talent. So this is the time to see these artists. So we from Tony Bennett on March the 25th, we go right to Diana Krall,
Yeah.
and we mentioned she was supposed to be here in February, and Paul McCartney called her up, and McCartney asked her to write some music that they would perform on the Grammy Awards. And so they did.
she also was writing most of the music for his next album, the jazz album that
Oh,
he's
really?
doing. Yes, and I forget the producer's name that's working with them also, but
So we were really bummed to have her
Oh.
change the date, but you know, Paul McCartney,
but
Van
yeah,
Wezel.
really, Sir Paul.
It wasn't just the Van Wezel. She canceled all of her dates in Florida.
And she played the piano for him that night.
I know.
We were
Along
with Sergio Mendes playing the guitar for
There
her.
you go.
So-
It was a Van Wezel
Oh,
night
I'm
with
telling
Paul
ya.
McCartney. I'm sure he'll be calling us next.
I'm sure.
Do you think?
Yeah.
And then let's see a little bit of the Joffrey Ballet, Chicago. Joffrey Ballet is one of my favorite ballet companies in the country. They are here on March 29th. And let's look at Joffrey. They are incredible. And then the last show we're talking about today on April the 3rd and the 4th is South Pacific. And folks, this is not your old South Pacific. This is the Lincoln Center production. I saw it. I went to New York. I saw it. I fell in love with the musical theater all over again. It is a brilliant new production. It won all the awards that year. It is a fantastic, fantastic show, and it doesn't get any better than this. And just remind everybody, Jules, how do we get tickets to these great
We
shows?
get tickets by coming to our wonderful box office.
With our friendly little operators.
Go to vanwezel.org, not .com, or by calling our telephone number, which is 953-3368.
And please, you know, we have the best time over here in the nicest theater. We have great food before the show. Many times we have parties, and we're going to be telling you in very short time about the new season coming up. So we're working very hard on that, and we will be back at the Van Wezel in just another month. Thank you, guys.